Welcome to our channel. Today we're going to be talking about this book, Ikigai, The Japanese Secret to a Long and Happy Life by Héctor Garcia and Francesc Miralles.
Oh, yeah.
And this book kind of really dives deep into this fascinating concept called Ikigai, and it essentially means a reason for being.
Yeah, a reason to get up in the morning.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And how it ties to the longevity of the people of Okinawa, Japan.
Specifically in the village of Ogimi,
Yes.
which is like the village with the most centenarians in the world.
It's amazing. I'm excited to unpack this with you.
Yeah, it's really a captivating exploration of a culture that seems to have unlocked some secrets to living not just longer, but also with more purpose, more joy.
It really is. And what's so cool is that the authors actually traveled to Ogimi
Yeah.
and spent time with these centenarians trying to understand their way of life.
Yeah, they didn't just read about it, they experienced it firsthand.
Exactly.
And they had this wonderful anecdote about how when they first arrived in Ogimi, they were just struck by how active and engaged the elderly were.
Yeah.
There wasn't this sense of retirement in the way we often think of it.
Right.
It was more like people continue to have roles, responsibilities, and most importantly, passions
Yes.
that kept them going.
That's amazing. And it challenges our whole Western notion of retirement, doesn't it?
Mhm.
So how did the authors define Ikigai, and how did they see it play out in the lives of the Okinawans?
Well, they described Ikigai as that sweet spot where your passions, your skills, what the world needs and what you can be paid for all intersect.
Wow.
It's about finding that thing that truly motivates you to get up in the morning and gives you a sense of purpose.
Yeah.
And in Okinawa, they saw it in everything from the master artisans who dedicated their lives to perfecting their craft,
Right.
to the community members who came together in Moai,
Yeah.
these informal social groups that provide support and connection.
You know, I've heard of Moai before, but I've never really connected them to this idea of Ikigai. It makes so much sense, though, right?
Yeah.
If you have a strong sense of community and belonging, you're more likely to feel supported and connected to something larger than yourself.
Absolutely. And the book really highlights how these social connections play a vital role in the Okinawans' overall well-being and longevity.
Right.
They have this principle of Yuimaru, which emphasizes teamwork and cooperation,
Okay.
and Ikiariba Chode,
Wow.
which means treating everyone like a brother.
I love that.
It creates this powerful sense of unity and interdependence.
Wow, I love those principles. They're so simple, yet so profound. It makes you realize how important human connection really is, doesn't it?
It really does, and it's not just about social connections. The book also explores the role of spirituality in the lives of the Okinawans.
Right.
They have this unique blend of Shintoism, Buddhism, and animism, which involves a deep respect for nature and ancestor worship.
Oh, wow, that's fascinating. And speaking of respect for nature, I'm curious about the Okinawan diet. It's been getting a lot of attention lately for its health benefits. Did the authors dive into that as well?
Oh, absolutely. The Okinawan diet is a fascinating example of how lifestyle choices can contribute to longevity.
I agree.
It's predominantly plant-based,
Yeah,
with a focus on local fresh ingredients and colorful fruits and vegetables.
makes sense.
They also practice harahachibu, which means eating until you're 80% full.
Oh, okay.
So it's a mindful approach to eating that prevents overeating and promotes digestion.
That makes a lot of sense.
Ah.
I'm always telling myself to slow down and savor my food.
Right.
But it's so easy to get caught up in the rush of daily life.
Yeah.
And, you know, all this talk about purpose and community makes me think about Viktor Frankl,
Yeah.
the author of Man's Search for Meaning,
Yeah.
his work on logotherapy,
Yes.
which emphasizes finding meaning in life even in the face of suffering.
Right.
Has so many parallels with the concept of Ikigai. I was just thinking that, in fact, one of the most powerful takeaways from Frankl's work is that having a sense of purpose can actually help us become more resilient in the face of adversity.
Yeah.
It's like having an anchor that keeps us grounded during tough times. Do the authors connect Ikigai to this idea of resilience at all?
They did. They suggested that having a strong ikigai can give you the strength to persevere through challenges because you have this deep sense of purpose driving you forward.
I see.
So it's like this inner motivation that helps you navigate those difficult times.
Okay, that makes sense. This is so fascinating. It's like the Okinawan way of life offers this holistic approach to well-being,
Yeah.
where purpose, community, and even diet all contribute to their resilience and longevity.
Absolutely. It's all interconnected.
You know, before we move on, I want to take a moment to mention a fantastic YouTube channel called Affirmify Journey.
Okay.
If you're looking for some motivational content to help you cultivate a more positive mindset, Definitely check them out.
Yeah.
You can find their channel at insert YouTube channel name. Now I'm curious to hear more about how the Okinawans stay active and engaged throughout their lives.
Right.
They don't have the traditional retirement phase.
Yeah.
So what do they do to keep their minds and bodies sharp?
That's a great question, and it's something that really sets them apart. They don't view aging as a time to slow down or disengage from life.
Right.
In fact, they embrace it as a continuation, a new chapter with its own set of opportunities and challenges. And they have a remarkable ability to find joy in the everyday moments, something we can all learn from.
I think that's a perfect segue into our next part, where we can explore those specific activities and practices that contribute to their active and joyful approach to aging. It's like they have a whole different perspective on time and how to spend it, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. It's a refreshing contrast to the fast-paced, often stressful lifestyle that many of us experience in the West. There's a lot we can learn from their wisdom and approach to life.
Welcome back to our deep dive into Ikigai, the Japanese secret to a long and happy life. You know, we've been uncovering some truly fascinating aspects of Okinawan culture.
Yeah.
You know, from their unique sense of community to their perspective on aging.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned that they don't really have a concept of retirement like we do in the West.
Yeah.
What struck you most about the Okinawan approach to work and how it relates to Ikigai?
You know, it's truly inspiring to see how seamlessly work is integrated into their lives. It becomes an extension of their Ikigai
Right.
rather than a separate, often dreaded obligation.
Yeah.
You know, they don't have a word for retirement because they see purpose and activity as essential throughout life.
That's incredible. And the book had some amazing stories about the Takumi,
Yeah.
those master artisans who dedicate their lives to perfecting their craft. It
Yeah.
sounds like they embody this idea of finding fulfillment through their work.
Absolutely. These individuals, like Jiro Ono, the sushi chef, featured in the documentary Jiro Dreams of Sushi,
Yes.
you know, demonstrate the profound connection between passion, mastery, and Ikigai. You know,
All right.
Jiro's been making sushi for over 80 years, and his dedication to his craft is awe-inspiring.
Wow. It's not just a job for him. It's his life's purpose,
Yeah.
a source of immense joy and continuous learning.
I love that continuous learning. It makes me think that Ikigai isn't static. It's something that can evolve and change as we grow and develop new interests.
Exactly. And the book mentions this concept of Ikigai Shinto,
Okay.
which acknowledges that our Ikigai can shift throughout our lives. It's not about clinging to one specific passion or career path,
Right.
but about remaining open to new possibilities and adapting our sense of purpose as we move through different stages of life.
It takes the pressure off of having to figure everything out at once
Exactly.
and allows us to embrace the natural flow of life. You know, one thing I've been wondering about is how they stay active. Do they engage in any specific exercises or practices?
While they don't necessarily hit the gym for intense workouts, physical activity is interwoven into their daily lives.
Okay.
They walk extensively, they tend to their gardens, and engage in traditional practices like radio taiso,
Okay.
a synchronized morning exercise routine often done to music. Radio taiso sounds fun. Is it something like a group fitness class?
You could say that it's a social activity that gets people moving and connected first thing in the morning, promoting both physical and social well-being. And speaking of connection, they also practice yoga, tai chi, and qigong,
Right.
which all emphasize mindful movement and the integration of mind, body, and breath.
That ties in so beautifully with everything else we've learned about the Okinawan lifestyle. It's about finding that harmony and balance in all aspects of life, isn't it?
Precisely. And they even incorporate shiatsu,
Oh, wow.
a form of massage therapy, into their routines.
It's incredible.
It's like they have this holistic toolkit for maintaining physical, mental, and emotional well-being.
I'm curious about how they view aging here in the West. There's so much emphasis on staying young and fighting the signs of aging. What's their perspective on this?
It's a stark contrast. The Okinawans don't fear aging. They respect and honor it.
Wow.
As a natural part of life, they don't see it as an endpoint, but rather as a continuation, a new chapter filled with its own unique beauty and wisdom.
Right.
They even have a term, wajima,
Okay.
which refers to this deep respect for elders.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Makes you realize how much our cultural perspectives influence our attitudes towards aging, doesn't it?
It really does. They don't buy into the idea of trying to look younger or hide their age.
Yeah.
They embrace the wisdom and experience that come with growing older.
It's refreshing.
It's a perspective that can bring a lot of peace and acceptance to the aging process.
I think that's something we can all learn from, regardless of our age.
Absolutely.
It's about shifting our focus from fighting aging to embracing the richness of each stage of life.
And along with that comes a deep appreciation for the simple things. Remember the concept of ichigo ichii.
Yes.
It means this moment exists only now and won't come again. And it encourages them to savor each experience
I see.
as unique and precious. It's a beautiful reminder to be present in the moment and find joy in the everyday.
You know, that really resonates with me. It's so easy to get caught up in the hustle and bustle of life and forget to appreciate the little things, the warmth of the sun, a good conversation with a friend, a delicious meal. These are the things that truly make life rich and fulfilling.
The Okinawans understand that they find happiness in their connections with nature, with loved ones, with their communities. They don't seek validation from external achievements, but rather from the simple joys of everyday life.
And it seems like this appreciation for simplicity and connection is woven into the fabric of their culture. They gather in Moai not just for support, but also for shared experiences, laughter, and connection.
Exactly. It's not just about practicality. It's about fostering a sense of belonging and celebrating life together. And that sense of community plays a crucial role in their overall resilience.
Yeah.
They understand that we're not meant to go through life's challenges alone.
Their example is truly inspiring. It's a reminder that true happiness and longevity aren't about chasing material possessions or external validation. It's about cultivating deep connections, finding purpose in our daily lives, and embracing the beauty of each moment.
And as we move into the final part of our deep dive, we'll explore how we can apply these principles to our own lives, even if we don't live in a remote village in Okinawa. We'll delve into some personal reflections and practical tips that you can use to start cultivating your own Ikigai.
Before we do that, I want to mention a great resource called lingopediamagazine.com.
Okay.
They have a wealth of courses and ebooks on a variety of topics. You can find them at website address here. And now let's continue our exploration of Ikigai, the Japanese secret to a long and happy life. Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive into Ikigai, the Japanese secret to a long and happy life. You know, I don't know about you, but I'm feeling incredibly inspired by the Okinawans and their approach to life.
Me too. It's been a fascinating journey exploring their culture and uncovering these secrets to their longevity and happiness.
It really has. And now I think it's time to bring it back to us.
Yeah.
You know, how can we as listeners apply these principles to our own lives? After all, we might not live in a remote village in Japan, but that doesn't mean we can't find our own Ikigai and create a life filled with purpose and joy.
Absolutely. And what's fascinating is that finding your Ikigai isn't necessarily about making this radical life change,
Right.
or quitting your job to pursue some grand passion. It can be much simpler than that.
Okay.
It's about paying attention to those little sparks of joy in your everyday life.
Right.
Those things that make you feel energized and alive.
You mean like those moments when you're so engrossed in something that you completely lose track of time?
Exactly. Those are often clues to your Ikigai. It could be anything from gardening to painting to playing music to spending time with loved ones.
Yeah.
The key is to notice what truly lights you up and then find ways to incorporate more of that into your life.
So it's not necessarily about finding one big thing that defines your entire existence, but about creating a life filled with little pockets of joy and purpose.
Precisely. And the book offers some great exercises that can help you uncover those areas where your passions and skills align with what the world needs.
Okay.
One simple but powerful exercise is to ask yourself some key questions.
Okay.
What are you truly passionate about? What skills and talents do you possess, even those that might seem insignificant? What brings you a sense of joy and fulfillment? And thinking back to Frankl, how can you connect these things to a sense of meaning in your life?
Those are great questions to ponder.
Oh,
I think sometimes our Ikigai is hidden in plain sight, waiting for us to simply acknowledge it.
absolutely. Another helpful exercise is to create a joy list. Just take some time to reflect on all those activities, big or small, that bring you a sense of happiness and fulfillment. Then look for patterns or themes that might point you toward your Ikigai.
I love that idea.
Yeah.
And don't forget about those flow states we talked about earlier.
Right.
Those moments when you're so absorbed in an activity that time seems to stand still, paying attention to what triggers those flow states can be incredibly revealing.
It can't. Now, I know some people might be thinking, well, that's all great, but I have a job, a family responsibilities. I can't just drop everything and chase my Ikigai.
Right, and the book acknowledges that it's not about making drastic changes overnight, but about finding ways to weave your Ikigai into your existing life, even if it's just in small ways.
Exactly. Maybe it's starting a side hustle related to your passion or volunteering in your community, or simply carving out more time for those activities that bring you joy outside of work.
The key is to make a conscious effort to prioritize those things that matter to you. It's about taking ownership of your time and energy and making choices that align with your values and aspirations.
And remember, your Ikigai doesn't have to be grand or world-changing.
Right.
It can be as simple as bringing joy to your family, making a difference in your community, or simply living your life with intention and authenticity.
Absolutely. And what about those times when we face challenges or setbacks? How can we stay motivated and committed to our Ikigai when things get tough?
That's where the principles of resilience and anti-fragility come in. The Okinawans have shown us that facing adversity is an inevitable part of life, but it doesn't have to derail us from our path.
They've taught us the importance of cultivating a growth mindset, seeing challenges as opportunities for learning and growth rather than roadblocks.
And they've reminded us of the power of community. Surrounding ourselves with people who believe in us and support us can make all the difference when we're going through tough times.
Remember those moai. They're not just about socializing. They're about creating a safety net of support and encouragement.
Exactly. So if you're feeling stuck or discouraged, reach out to your friends, your family, your community, share your struggles, seek advice, and remember that you're not alone on this journey.
This deep dive into Ikigai has been such a gift. It's given us a glimpse into a culture that has so much to teach us about living a longer, happier, and more fulfilling life. And it's reminded us that finding our Ikigai is not a destination, but a lifelong journey of exploration and growth.
It's a journey that requires us to stay curious, embrace change, and never stop seeking those things that bring us joy, purpose, and a deep sense of connection to ourselves and the world around us.
So as we wrap up this episode, we encourage you to reflect on what resonated with you most. What aspect of the Okinawan lifestyle are you most inspired to incorporate into your own life? What small step can you take today to start cultivating your own Ikigai?
Remember, you don't have to have all the answers right now.
Right.
Just begin. Take one small step today and another tomorrow.
And if you enjoyed this deep dive into Ikigai, the Japanese secret to a long and happy life, don't forget to subscribe, share, and like this podcast. Until next time, may you find joy in the everyday purpose in your pursuits and a deep sense of fulfillment in all that you do.